and welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
It's so good to see your face, even though we're not in person and I can't give you a hug.
I know this week has been a little nutty on our schedules and time crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it really has. It's been a little intense today, in particular.
This
Y-
week has been nutty for sure. I know that work in general is just always fast moving, especially for you and the role that you're in. But it also doesn't help that we're kind of in between trips too. And so we're
yeah.
really trying to compress all of the work and everything into a short period of time. So, just wanna thank you for all the extra work you've been doing.
Oh, I really appreciate that, babe. And honestly, like it's been exciting, like challenging and exciting.
Well, I'm glad that you're linking the 2 together right now.
Well, it's kind of like split, right? So it's challenging on the side of some of the things that I've been doing that are not the participating things of like you and I and the actions forward into what
Mhm.
we are trying to create. That part's not the challenging part outside of maybe time constraints. It's the other stuff going on in my life that will just
Screw all the other stuff. We don't need roofs over our heads
I know. I
or food in
know.
our bellies.
Gosh. The transitioning factor is legit though, like transitioning the things that you're focusing in on. It can be really tough.
Yeah.
How
Whoever
about
said
you?
that building a business was easy is a liar.
Dude, it's not in this day and age where everything requires like the amount of social activity that you have to do, whether that's social networking, that's social media, like, it's time consuming, and they are developing really cool, applications and sorry for those that are totally against AI, but they are coming up with some pretty cool stuff that has cut time in, like, to a third, not even a half, like,
Oh,
lowered
yeah.
it to a third for content creators like ourselves. And so it's just like that alone has been extremely helpful, but you still have to learn them, you know?
Yeah. You still have to learn them and then creating the templates, but once you got the templates down, it's so much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
And
See sorry.
the no, it's okay. The energetic exchange is definitely a lot easier to manage as well. Because I know for me, social media is very draining to do because I get very, I I become a perfectionist. And I just, spend hours on one little clip or an image or something like that, and after those hours are done, I kinda get irritated and I just stop. I don't finish.
This is so funny about the opposite side of you and I, right?
Mhm.
Because for me, if as long as I don't have anything else going on and I just focus like a couple of hours on a weekend, put my headphones on, put the noise canceling feature on, and put things on certain, monitors, I'm in a flow state like no other. My creativity pops in and I can just create the socials and do all these things and like pick the music for all of it and it becomes fun for me. And so it doesn't bother me to do it.
Unless we're in these meetings, I don't usually get undisturbed time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that kinda disrupts the flow quite a bit.
Yeah. No, that's
I'm that
true.
I'm that type of person that when I clean, I need nobody in the house because I'm so ADD, moving around, just putting things in places, and if I move one thing from the living room to the bedroom, I find something else in the bedroom, and then I gotta go over to the bathroom, and then I go to the bathroom, and then I go over to the sunroom, and then go to the office, and I'm bouncing around like a freaking, pinball machine, and if somebody says anything to me, I'm completely derailed, and so I just sit down, and I'm like, "I'm not gonna clean or pick up after myself because you're here and it's gonna distract me."
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, like, were you like that when we were roommates? Like, I don't remember. But I think we actually had hired a service, which is like rule number 1 with roommates. Put it in your budget to hire a service, have someone come, do all that manual labor, right? Because I thank you so much for being willing to participate in that because I find
Oh
it
my
so
god, yeah.
helpful. Yeah,
You did not have to twist my arm at all. Plus, it felt like we kept our shared spaces pretty picked up for the most part
yeah,
and, kept any clutter to the bedrooms, which made it a lot easier to clean because it was just one room.
right.
It wasn't a
Exactly.
whole freaking house.
I loved it when she folded the little toilet paper into the triangle.
Yeah.
That was the best. Coming home to that, I was like, "Oh, I love you." What is it about that, you know? Because 'Cause you're not gonna use that little piece because somebody else touched it. So anyway,
I mean, you can wad it up and so it doesn't actually touch anything when you wipe.
and now we know my OCD.
But I get that, like, I do have the same thought, I just wrap
Yeah.
it up in itself because I don't wanna waste it.
I always pull that little piece of the square off, and then
Yeah.
it goes in the trash or the toilet.
Anyways, you guys are learning a lot of new things about us today.
Gosh, that's so
Oh,
funny.
our bathroom habits. We won't go into that rabbit hole any deeper.
My bad, my bad. Well, speaking of, it's not even a rabbit hole, it's beautiful. Uh, you have
Sorry, I just
I don't even know how to transition from that, you know what I'm saying? Like like, how do we transition from toilet
I like
paper to,
I'll put
like,
about rabbit hole
beautiful
as in a
channeling? Like,
butthole into a beautiful thing.
let me try that again. I'll try that again. Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, like, today I wanted to just kind of talk to you about something you did today,
Mhm, mhm.
and we're gonna let you guys, our beautiful audience, listen to it.
So today, on my morning park stopover time to get my head right before I head into work, um, as I was driving towards the park, I actually had a thought that popped into my head, and it was how do our beliefs create our reality? And so when I was sitting at the park, I did a little bit of journaling and then I was like, "You know what? I haven't like really connected with my guides in a while. Let me sit here and see what comes through." I really feel like, there's information to come through me. And so I sat down and just closed my eyes and recorded on my phone just a brief conversation. Um it's about 7, 8 minutes. And so we are going to play it here and then we are going to discuss it.
Awesome. Enjoy.
Class, masters, teachers, guides, loved ones, angels, higher self, and source. I'd like to understand more about how our beliefs create our reality. It seems that everything is already solidified in our reality. So, how do our beliefs create that which already appears to be created? Every morning, you wake with new purpose, with new breath, with new life. Every morning, you notice thoughts, first thing that pop into your head. I'm stressed, I am busy, I have things to do. These thoughts populate your brain and then spread outward. What we tell ourselves is what we look for. So our senses respond to the words and thoughts that run through our mind. Our senses are taught to filter out that which does not align with the thoughts and the words that we speak in the morning and throughout the day. When we filter out all other things, it is only left that which aligns with our belief that the world is busy, that we are stressed. If you wake up and say, I am busy, all you see is busyness in your day. You forget about the moments of rest, the moments of joy, the moments shared with others or with just yourself. You don't find solace because you are focused on stress, on busyness. If you start your morning with a peaceful breath, breathing in calm and delight, if you bring in wonderment, what shall I see and experience on this new day? This gift of time that is the human reality, to create that which I am not creating now. You wake and you say, I am peaceful. You carry that throughout your day. You may need reminders, especially if your old patterns of thinking are still intact. It's reprogramming, deprogramming the negative thought patterns and reprogramming with new focus that will bring the awareness of these other joyful, loving experiences. Thank you for that, guides. But what about more of the collective experiences? Collectively, you have agreed that the sky is blue. But individually, how do you know that each human is not experiencing blue differently? You've heard of the tipping point, this idea that a certain percentage of the population must believe in something new for things to change and spread amongst the remaining population. It is approximately 30%. Not to say that this will change, that the sky is blue, because the receptors in the human eyes may not change, and because this is so solidified over thousands upon thousands of years. But the belief that people are good, that we can change, that we can be together and live harmoniously, that is something that we can change throughout our belief system. When we say, I believe that people are good, you see more of the good that people do and speak and be. When you say people are bad, evil things occur. Just like confirmation bias, when you are searching news, you will filter out that which is perceived as good and focus more on that which is perceived as evil. It's not that there's any less good in the world. It's just you are not focused on seeing it. To the untrained eye, it feels, though, that everything that you see that you are focused on is all that there is. But that is simply not true. The brain cannot handle not being filtered. And so you teach it. You teach the mind and the brain to filter out what you do not want. Be kind to yourself. Be careful with what you let into your reality, knowing that if a belief occurs, then this will help to create that reality which you experience. As an adolescent, you were taught to choose your friends wisely. This is the same as what you allow into your reality. That which you surround yourself is that which you will experience. Be conscious. This is conscious creating when you become aware of what you do and don't want in your reality and seek that which is good to surround yourself with, that which you perceive as positive and loving. I leave you now. Thank you, guides. Thank you, Mount Glass. Mother, Father, God, thank you for your connection and your spirit surrounding us and our spirit, which is connected always to all things, intertwined, interlaced, interloved. Amen.
So, I can't wait to even hear comments about what you guys thought of that. I have questions. I would love to ask you questions because it was so aligned to everything that I needed to hear today,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'll share a story with you about that. Um, but can I ask the questions first?
Sure.
So, what did it feel like? Because I know when I'm channeling, I have chosen more recently to stay present in my channeling. Before, I would just be like, "See you later, alligator," and it was not me anymore. And
Mhm.
so, if you guys want to see what that looks like, feel free to go back to some of the channeling episodes and watch that here on YouTube. But that feeling that I get right before it happens is usually very vibratory. Like I feel like this like light buzzing around all of my skin and like my body. And then when I come back, the buzzing's really strong.
Mm.
But I feel energetic and I feel lighter and I feel loved like beyond belief. Like somebody just gave me a big bear hug and it was just like, I love you so much.
It's funny because before you even asked, I was just sitting it here in my head, like thinking about how it felt. So, more than anything, it felt like peace. So, like soft water. I don't know how else to explain it. Just, when you're at a lake and it's just peaceful and there's no breeze or wind or ripples on the water and it's just like glass, you know?
Yeah.
That's how it
Smooth.
felt. Like, the past few days, I have been, uh, dealing with a lot of different things going on, and so my mind has been racing and going in a lot of different directions, like, I'm waking up thinking about things, including this morning, the things that I needed to do to prepare for upcoming trips and other things that are happening, and when I was driving in, I just got this, like, need almost. Like it felt like a desire to sit with my guides today. And when I was doing that, I don't check out completely, but I can tell when my mind starts to try to kick in to try to fill in other words. And so I do stay present so that I can kind of put that in its
Yeah.
place. Like, "Stay in your lane, bro." Um,
It's honestly the hardest part of channeling that
it
I
is.
found when I was learning. Yeah.
It is, to step out of your own way and
Yep.
allow the information because the reality of it is the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know. And when we can allow our, human minds to be silent or at least calm, then it allows for that other higher information to come through.
Yeah. Absolutely, it does. Um, this morning I'm gonna tell a story now.
Okay.
So, this morning when I woke up, I immediately like, I don't it's rare that I don't remember my dreams. This morning, I woke up, I know that something happened in the
Mm.
dream that wasn't pleasant, but I don't remember what it was. Like, immediately didn't remember it. Almost like I'm not supposed to, right? Like I
Mm.
just did the work and then I came back.
Hmm.
And I just had that knowing. And it kind of ticked me off a little bit. So I was kind of on edge as soon as I woke up. And I go through a daily practice because I used to be a very, very angry person in the mornings, mostly because I wasn't aligned with what I'm doing in my life. And so I have trained my brain and my body to say angry things in the mornings, and it responds in kind. So I go through a series of positive statements, right? In order to like reverse this thought process. So this morning it was really strong though. And I could feel the fighting, the battle against it. From there, it went to, okay, I'm in a better mood now. All right, cool, cool, cool. Husband brought me coffee. He took the dog out. I'm taking a shower. We're having a fun conversation while we're getting ready for work. And then all of a sudden, I get a ding on my phone and stuff had happened at work. So I had to leave early. And
Mm.
I was like, rush time, you know, and I had asked my spouse, "Can you please put the dog away, before you leave?" He made kind of a sigh noise. I got super angry at him. It was just like a thing. Okay. From there, I get on the road and like I got cut off by an 18-wheeler
Mm.
on a one-way directional road. I couldn't get around him. I got blocked by that. He didn't want to go at the green light. I got blocked by that. Once I got on the highway, I got cut off twice. I was super upset. I was like, wow, this is just perpetuating from here. But somewhere in the back of my mind, when all this was going on, I also had the awareness that I was allowing it to happen. So by the time I got to work, I sat in my car where I normally sit to do my like, you got this moment, right? My little self pep talk that I do. And I took a few deep breaths and I just said, call Carrie. And then I called you this morning.
Mhm.
Normally, I try to leave you alone Thursday, Wednesday, whatever day of the week mornings, right? But this morning was different. This morning was like, parked car, take a deep breath. Now that you're relaxed, call Carrie. But I also knew not to bitch about my experience on the way in. Like I knew not to do that. Normally, I vent to you immediately. But for some reason, I was like, just bring in the peace that she's going to
Mm.
provide, right? And you answer the phone and you were in a super good mood. And I was like, that's exactly what I needed. But I can't help but think about during your channeling,
Mhm.
uh, the messages were so clear about what we're focused on and
Mhm.
how it creates the reality that we're about to experience. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, first, I'm glad that I had the time to answer, because that normally doesn't happen either on Tuesday,
I
Wednesday,
know,
Thursday.
which is so strange because I had a very strong thought. She's going to answer today.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it was just for a brief couple of minutes, but it was nice to check in with you, and
Yeah.
you sounded excited as well. So I had no idea about the stress that you had in your morning, but it was like this almost like you made a choice. Not
Yeah.
almost like you made a choice.
Yeah.
You decided what you were going to carry forward throughout your day.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It
And
became a challenge, a punching pillow challenge from that point on, I'm not gonna lie, like, everything was thrown at me left and right today, so
well, and that's like the universe testing you. Like, are you sure you don't want to stay grumpy? Are you sure you don't want to stay pissed off? Are you sure you don't want to stay irritated and annoyed? Like,
Yeah,
especially because those are our patterns. And it's like one tiny little pebble can completely derail the attempt to reprogram what you're doing. And so that's why I think it's so important to try and practice this regularly. And, at first, we've talked about this in the past that you kind of have to practice this consciously, um, frequently. And it's like learning a new skill. You
totally is.
practice to be able to perfect it. And
Yeah,
so it's recognizing how easy it is to slip back into old patterns because let's be real, we've had 10, 20, 30 years of practice doing it this way. It's not going to change overnight or even, maybe for some it won't take that long, but for others it may take longer. But persistence and passion for your heart, your joy, your experiences. Let
I
that
agree.
motivate you.
And that was kind of the difference about today than some other days, right? Or let me say the days that I've allowed it to just consume
Mhm.
because today was different. Today I kept looking for the moments that will bring me out of the areas that I was disliking. Like, I remember talking to my team at work and things were not going well. And I remember like listening for little key jokes that my team likes to make,
Mhm.
you know? And so I was kind of hunting for the joy versus hunting for how can this get even worse,
Yeah.
which we do unconsciously all the time, you know?
Absolutely. And when it comes to like news and things like that, like it's the majority of news because it's clickbait is going to be tugging on the negative side of you to be like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? The world is ending. Do yourself a favor and try and Google good news, positive news every once in a while. I do it. It's
Yeah.
not usually readily available on the regular news streams.
So sad.
So you have to make
Yeah.
a conscious effort to search for it sometimes. And that's the same for in your life. You have to be open to looking at it and seeing it.
I agree. Speaking of seeing, did you see colors differently afterwards?
Um, Again, my experience was different than yours. I didn't feel like this intense vibration by any
Okay.
means. It felt very soft. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm lacking the words within our language to describe it. But it
Amen
even
to that.
felt it even felt like the colors had like a softened edge. So
Yes.
things were almost, like, integrated along the edges, there was no separation, so everything kinda softened.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. I know I've explained how it feels for me,
Mhm,
even on previous episodes. You explaining how it feels for you, it helps others relate to the fact that it's not a one size fit all,
mhm.
right? It's different for all of us. We have different experiences. It doesn't make it any less valid at all. And the messages that your guides provided were and this is the fun part. This is the part that makes me so like nerdy and giddy at the same time is that whenever I'm hoping that we get comments on this episode because I would love to hear it. What resonated with you?
Mhm,
Did you pick anything out? Because every single time when you get a message from the guides, from our Mount Glasses, our collective, all of the above, right? Whatever you want to call it. It's you always hear it at the time you need it.
yeah.
And I needed to hear that today. That it almost felt like, "That's right, girl. You did a good job today. Didn't go perfectly, but it's not supposed to.
It, like,
You learned some things."
validated your effort today.
It validated my effort today. Exactly. And it gave you insight about your ability to channel
Mhm.
and a lot of really good knowledge and a lot of really good information.
And, I mentioned that it had been a while since I've sat down to do this, and I don't know what it was about today that was different than other days, but I feel like I don't know. I just find it hard to create space in my home that is so calming and without distraction. And so it was really nice to kind of separate from that, but then also being out in nature. And when I was walking to the spot that I like to sit at, I was literally just observing like the trees and without the name tree, right? Like we named
Okay.
it a tree. And I was just thinking about how it's connected and all the things that it does, like the root system deep down into the earth, talking and communicating with the other plant life and trees around it. And who knows how far that connection goes. And then just,
Right.
like, how it stands tall and just seems sturdy and gives off this, like, strength and safety and love, And I was looking at the leaves and thinking about how, this beautiful thing is creating oxygen that we need, that we required, as far as our bodies. And it was just like an appreciation. So it was almost like I was setting myself up for this, to be
Gratitude
open to receive. Yes. Gratitude.
gratitude is one of the highest vibrations in channeling, by the way.
Mhm.
Like, in my experience, that's why every time we would start off with a song, because we find appreciation in singing along in the moment,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know? And
Yeah.
and I think that's, like, really beautiful that you were experiencing such a high level of gratitude for your surroundings, and you became very present in your moment. It
Mhm.
helps allow you to step out of your own way
And
to do that.
of course, a cardinal was sitting there when I walked up, so,
That's cool. They're like,
and
"We're
and
here. We're ready.
yeah.
We know what's gonna happen. I'm so excited."
And, I don't know if this came through in the audio, but when I was listening back earlier, I didn't even realize until I was listening back that there was construction going on. Like, I was
Wow.
so, um, not focused on the moment, but it was like soundproofing occurred, and I could still hear the birds, and there really wasn't a breeze today, so it wasn't like the trees were, rustling, but I could hear the birds and the squirrels moving through the trees, but I didn't hear the construction until I re-listened to the recording, so I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is. That is really interesting. It is nice. I don't get distracted either. Like, it's almost as if, like, a loud, like a slam happens, then, like, it'll kinda bring me back just a little bit, right?
Like,
Like, a
you're
little bit.
aware of it, but it doesn't, like, knock you out of it.
Right, but it doesn't knock me out of it, exactly,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
so cool. Like, it's so cool that their presence can be like that. That's awesome.
So, I think it'd be really interesting too if we get some comments that, or, nobody has to comment if they're uncomfortable, obviously. Nobody has to do anything that they don't want
Right.
to. But I want to know, like, if anybody was triggered to reflect inward about their own beliefs. And I think the whole reason that I was thinking about this was because I was just pondering on where my beliefs came from and where we learn these things from, whether it's our parents, whether it's religious background, whether it's our schooling, whether it's just a role model that we look up to, or actresses or movie stars or whatever. These beliefs, we are not born with them. We learn them.
Yeah,
And so even that is not solidified in ourselves unless we choose to allow that to be.
that's very true, and we do make the choice to keep it, you know? A lot of people do revert back to, "Well, this is just how I was raised." Okay. It's your choice to keep that.
Mhm.
It's also your choice to choose something different if you want. If you want, because
Right.
again, that's a choice.
And this is filtered in through all of our beliefs. So whether it's like community,
Yeah.
the mundane believing, all believing the same thing, whether, it's the individual or family unit. I think we're in a time frame where we're really questioning a lot of the beliefs and things that we've been taught from previous generations too. And I think that's good. I think it's good to reevaluate the beliefs because beliefs, again, we create them and we make them true. They are not inherently true on their own.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good that we are reevaluating some of the BS we've been taught.
Ooh,
You
burn.
know, and I think it's good to ask questions.
Yeah.
It's good to ask, "Well, why?" There's so many times where we're taught things and it's just like, "Well, because I said so. This is what
Right?
it says in the textbook." Okay, but how do we know?
Yeah.
Why? Why do we all agree that, women have to have pink razors and we have to pay the pink tax, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna try and go down
I
that rabbit
hear
hole.
you. I hear you. I do. I totally hear you. I know.
Just to clarify, I'm not in agreement with that.
I
Men's razors work just as well.
better.
But but why are they called men and women's razors?
I used to only use that predefined terminology of calling it a men's razor. Anyway,
Yeah. But even just the belief that only women can wear dresses, right? That's bullshit. Excuse me. That's BS.
right.
If you are comfortable in a dress, by all means, you rock that dress, no matter what gender you identify with or don't identify with.
I agree. 100%.
I mean, like, why do we have to create these
Conform.
limitations and yeah, yeah, require conformity?
Yep. This is honestly one of the parts that the parts that make me a little cringe is just because I don't feel aligned to always having to be in such a box. There is a difference, in my opinion, between building a community, right? But then never allowing anyone else in your community because they don't 100% agree with you. There's a difference. So I have friends from all walks of life. I have family from all walks of life. A lot of them believe in different things. I've watched the debates between
Mm,
them. I try not to participate in those because they're usually political, and I'm like, "Eek, I don't like that." But for the most part, we all still love each other.
mhm.
We all still have a great time, and we always find a way to communicate, conversate, and have a good time with one another.
And it
Doesn't have
sounds
to.
like the base foundation of those relationships are the belief in love for each other.
Yes. So if there is one belief that we all should conform to,
There you go.
that's the one I'd want.
It's love first, love last, love always.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
So
I think that just
everyone a
speaks
big
to why compassion is so important and having empathy because, whether it's different beliefs in politics or religion or whatever other hot topic that you don't want to touch, excuse me, I should call it a hot potato topic. Um, you know, what's to say that anybody is wrong or anybody is right?
exactly. It and you unless you were walking in that person's shoes from the day that they were born, there's no way you're never gonna fully understand that or comprehend it, like,
Mhm.
where that person's coming from. You can try by asking questions. You can try by getting to know somebody, and if you approach that getting to know somebody because you love them, that's even better. Your willingness and your compassion, like Carrie said, will just lead forward from there, and then you'll grow and learn together, again, if you want to.
Mhm.
And if you just come across this individual, you can just say, "Dang, I really love that person, but I am not aligned to him." And you walk away and you go have a different experience without him.
Yeah, kind of like that lady
That
that I
easy.
interacted with in that crystal shop. I just walked
Definitely go
away.
check out that episode. That was great. A great conversation. We were actually editing that conversation and listening back to it, and I was like, "You know what? This one might be my favorite."
It was pretty fun. It was a funny episode too. It was a good
Yeah.
time.
We'll link it below.
So, again, beliefs can create or influence our reality. So, what do you believe? Where did that come from? And is that something that you want to agree to perpetuate?
Very
It's your
much so.
choice.
It's your choice. Speaking of
Choose
perpetuating
wisely.
well, speaking of perpetuating, I would love to perpetuate more subscribers on this channel. Thank you for subscribing. Hit that like, notifications bell. We appreciate it. You have no idea how much we appreciate it. We actually love watching this channel grow. And I'm not going to lie, I'm always super curious. Who are you?
Yeah.
What are your interests? What brought you here? Comment below. I don't always get to the comments very quickly because, these ladies are busy, but we do get to every comment. So,
Mhm.
and we read them and we will respond
And
if you're kind.
we chat about them too.
We do.
Yeah,
We
so we're
absolutely
actually
do.
sending you guys love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We've got social media. One day I'm going to add that little TikTok symbol in there. But until then,
Not
at
today.
Love Always Self, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
YouTube
We get
Shorts.
YouTube Shorts. That's right. That's right. Oh, darn. There's another one. Yeah. All right. Well, fine. We got a website. Usually, when we do collective card readings, all those cards can be found on our Amazon shop. We do get a little kickback, and we appreciate you for allowing us to grow and fund everything that we get comes right back to this podcast. Trust me.
And if you want to raise your vibration, we also have a gratitude journal on the website, lovealwaysself.com, that was
We do.
created by us.
I know. I used to have it back here behind me. It's in our podcast studio now. So I'm in my office. Anyway, digressing. So wonderful day. Wonderful day.
Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the clip that was shared with you and got some good, uplifting information and just makes you think. Because again, it's about going within and asking questions about why. What can I do about it? Why am I like this? Can I love harder? And on that note, don't forget to love first
Love last.
and love always and harder.
Eh. Bye,
Bye, y'all.
everybody.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first
Love last.
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.